Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen get ready to meet in the postseason for the fourth time this coming Sunday. The young duo is just one playoff game shy of the amount of times that Tom Brady and Peyton Manning met in the postseason, which was 5. That's the most meetings between the same QB in NFL playoff history. So can Allen finally win a playoff game against the 3-time Super Bowl champ? Only the AFC Championship game is going to tell. What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Happy Tuesday. I'm Hayley Lewis, and this is Chiefs News Daily. We got no media availability today from the team, so we're going to dive into the narrative that has been holding NFL fans hostage, the refs and the Chiefs. We break down why blaming NFL officiating won't make your team win. First, give us a like and subscribe right here on the KCSN YouTube channel. Let's get this episode rolling. The officials have been announced for the conference championship game. So for the Bills and the Chiefs game, Clete Blakeman will be the referee. Now, according to Bleacher Report, Blakeman's crews have been one of the highest penalty totals in NFL history this season. Now, this data comes from NFL penalty data. Now, crews led by Blakeman handed out 133 penalty yards per game. Blakeman has led officiating crews for 15 prior postseason contests, including 5 conference championships for Football Zebras. Most recently, he refereed the 2024 NFC Championship game between the Detroit Lions and San Francisco 49ers. Now, he also served as a referee during Super Bowl 50 between the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers after the 2015 season. Now, according to The Athletic's Mike Sando, the Chiefs have a 6-5 record all-time with Blakeman as their lead referee. He led the officiating crew also when the Chiefs lost to the Las Vegas Raiders on Christmas Day back in the 2023 season. Yet, even with the statistics out in the open, the narrative most NFL fans against Kansas City have latched onto is that the refs win games for the Chiefs. Let's dive into this more. NFL writer Scott Kasmar on Twitter shares, the Chiefs are actually one of the most penalized teams in the NFL over the last 7 seasons. It's as simple as a team with incredibly high ratings, a high win percentage, and a lot of close games that is creating the myth of officiating conspiracy to help them. The Chiefs are good. The NFL referees can be bad, and that's why the discourse is ugly. This is no conspiracy. You just watch the Chiefs win too many big games, and you're tired of it. Chris Long, former NFL defensive end and 2-time Super Bowl champ, put it perfectly on his podcast Greenlight. Take a listen.
And the numbers don't back up them getting all the. If you have an argument to make, please. If you have an argument to make other than listen to these guys glazing the Chiefs, stop riding. That just tells me that's red flag. Guy doesn't have any brain cells, or he's not an analytical thinker. Give me an actual argument. Don't give me some anecdotal bullshit. Like, well, the one time I saw this, that's not the way facts are worked out. Like, you have to, like, if you have a serious claim, like the Chiefs get a bunch of calls, yeah, the Chiefs get a bunch of calls. You know who else gets a bunch of calls? Every other team in the league. And just because you saw their game in primetime and you really want them to lose, and this is where I'm different than you, because I'm not a fan anymore. I was a fan when I was a kid. I played professional football for 11 years. Now I analyze it for a living. I'm not saying I'm better than you for that. I wish I could be a fan. But you operate with a certain amount of emotion that I don't have to. And so, like, the Chiefs don't hurt my feelings. I like greatness. They've been great.
To further the point, and then we will move on, the Chiefs have gotten the least help from the refs since Mahomes became the starting QB. Since 2018, Kansas City ranks 1st in total penalty yards, 21st in total penalty margin, 32nd in offensive penalties committed EPA, and 31st in defensive penalties committed EPA. Blaming the refs is a loser mentality. Sorry, not sorry. Moving on. All right, Buffalo is going to head to town this weekend for the 4th postseason meeting between these two squads since Mahomes and Allen took over. It's the 7th all-time. Mahomes holds a 3-0 record over Allen in the postseason, hasn't lost a playoff game since January of 2022. That means 3 consecutive years of winning every single playoff game and 8 straight postseason victories. We now bring Dan Fetes on the show. He's a sports anchor for 13 WHAM in Rochester, New York. He also hosts the podcast Buffalo Plus. He is here to discuss this matchup and really just talk about all things Chiefs and Bills. Broadcasting from Rochester, New York, we got Dan, who has been on the show already twice this year, and I'm sure many more times as the Chiefs and Bills continue to be very familiar, all too familiar with each other. So we're going into Sunday, AFC Championship game. You are coming to Kansas City. You looking forward to it? What would this be? How many trips for you to KC?
This, I think, is my 4th or 5th trip to Kansas. I'm kind of barbecued out. I'm going to be honest. Jenna usually picks the menu, and we were talking about it, and she's like, can we not do barbecue? And I was like, we can probably try and find something else. But no, I will say, for everybody that always says, like, I always tell Bills fans, like, go to opposing stadiums, like, just to see what it's like in the atmosphere. Casey's really cool. The stadium's really cool. There are a lot of old stadiums that just suck. Like Arrowhead is a cool, modern feel with the history of everything.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that. I was like, old stadiums that suck, but Arrowhead.
Yeah. No, but like the Bills have an old stadium that sucks. Like I don't understand. Like there's an atmosphere from the crowd, but you get the atmosphere from the crowd and the history and the winning culture that you guys have built, obviously, in the Mahomes era. So it is a cool experience. It's going to be special. I don't think there's anything about it. There's a difference between regular season, which Allen has had success in Arrowhead, and then there's postseason success, which Josh has not and the Bills haven't over these last few years.
Yeah, it's kind of wild when you put that all into perspective. Kansas City, this will be the fourth time that they are meeting in the postseason, and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes already meeting 4 times in their very early careers. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady met 5 times in the postseason. That was the most by any NFL quarterbacks to meet in the postseason. And now Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes keep that history going. But you mentioned that 3-0 Mahomes against Allen during the postseason. But during the regular season, Josh Allen 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes. What do you think has is there any rhyme or reason to why the Bills have not been able to close it out in those pivotal moments versus when they can do it during the regular season, just not on the big stage?
Look, I think Josh has shown and kind of broken that mold, or hopefully broken a lot of the stigma that wins and losses are a quarterback stat. Because in the 13 seconds game, Josh was the best player on the field. He was the best player, probably the best quarterback performance ever in a losing effort of regular season or postseason, just how special he was. But there has been this weight at times on the Bills that the Chiefs, when you win, you don't have it. And you have that, and we've talked about it before, that like, there's a sense of lightness and there's a sense of, oh, we've done it before because Patrick Mahomes has. Now, the difference I feel like this year isn't even in Allen as much as it is in Sean McDermott.
Okay.
And there can be kind of parallels to Andy Reid in his time in Philly, and he couldn't win the big one and all of these things. And that is somewhat on Sean McDermott, the 13 seconds and some of the other game plans that just haven't worked out. This year more than ever, Hayley, like Sean has changed. He's adjusted. He's adapted. He isn't this guy that no longer sticks in this nickel defense with just playing zone. He blitzed. He's not normally known as a blitzer. He blitzed the hell out of Lamar Jackson. Yeah. He played man coverage more than he's ever played it all this year. Like, part of that's Bobby Babich. Part of that's Sean McDermott's willingness to say, hey, the Ravens love to run the ball. We're going to put 3 linebackers on the field. We don't normally do it, but we have to do that. So Sean's changed. He actually talked this week about he's more aggressive on 4th down and when to go for it. Okay. And he cited the 2020 AFC Championship game as a pivotal point in his coaching career as, I was too passive. I should have gone for it more. I had to be more aggressive. And he's been one of the more aggressive head coaches going for it on 4th down since. So I think that maybe plays a little bit more into the factor heading into this matchup.
So an evolution of not only the quarterback, but the head coach. You did mention the blitz. You know how Patrick Mahomes is against the blitz. That's a very bring on the blitz is what he basically says. Yep. Can you see that happening as much Sunday? How do you think that the Bills are going to draw up this game plan? Because like you mentioned it, Buffalo has evolved since week 11. They've evolved since the past season. Kansas City has evolved since week 11, but they've also changed drastically from who they were in the postseason last time these two teams faced.
I remember Leslie Frazier. It was a regular season game. I think it was the 2021 year when they had the delay because of the thunderstorm that rolled through.
Yeah.
But Leslie Frazier said that in the game, he wrote on his wristband, "Don't blitz." So like that's the thing that the Bills know that. Now we have a different defensive coordinator, and like I said, it's a different Sean McDermott. I think they'll still send pressure. I think that this Chiefs O-line is susceptible at times to getting some pressure on Mahomes. And if you want to beat any great quarterback, the Brady's, the Mahomes, you got to get them off their spot. Now, what do you do then when Mahomes runs? Because whatever you think he's going to run for in the postseason, double it, because that's how he's so escapable and things like that. So I think there'll be a mix. I don't think Sean's going to be too scared to sit back and not blitz in this spot. I think there will be a freedom of, hey, this is what we've done. This is what we think is right. And let's give it a shot.
We talked about it. Cook's been cooking. He's been doing pretty good. The run for the Bills has been working. Do you see that continuing to work at Arrowhead? How do you think, I guess, maybe put it into your terms, if Buffalo wins, or Buffalo wins if, what do they have to do on offense to be able to get this one done?
If James Cook gets 12 plus carries. I've looked at it a lot of times when James Cook has more than 10 plus carries. And I know that's a dumb stat because a lot of times you're running when you're ahead and things like that. But last week against Baltimore, they ran 27 plays in the first half against the #1 rushing defense, and 20 of them were rushes. Like, they feel like their dudes up front, their 5 offensive linemen, are the best in football, and they don't back down from anything. So this is a little bit of that maturing of this offense. Sean McDermott loves to talk about controlling the line of scrimmage, and that's his dream. And they've showed they can do that against the biggest and baddest D lines. They went up against Denver, ran the ball down their throat. They went up against Baltimore, ran the ball down their throat. So I think there will be a steady commitment to that. And then you sprinkle in Josh Allen and his Superman cape. So, but listen, we talked before, you were just on our Buffalo Plus pod, and the fact of all of the weapons that Patrick Mahomes hands with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy and postseason Travis Kelce. Josh doesn't have that. He's got Mac Hollins, and Amari Cooper hasn't been a factor. What the Bills think are the best 5 players on their offense are their 5 linemen. So they're going to lean on them even in these big moments.
And I mean, that's going to be hard for the front 7 for Kansas City. So defensively, let's move to that side of the ball. How does the Bills defense line up against Kansas City's offense, which has been, again, kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what the identity is, but also it's hard to stop because you just don't know exactly which player is going to be popping off.
Yeah, the Bills secondary used to be their strength. It hasn't been that case as much this season. Now, again, they've given up big chunks on the running game. But they're still trying to figure it out. Taylor Rapp went out with an injury early on in the game against Baltimore. Sean McDermott says he's day-to-day with a hip injury, but he had to be carted back to locker room. Not a good sign. So you may have a rookie back there in Cole Bishop along with DeMar Hamlin. The secondary has been a little bit of a soft spot. The front 7 for the Bills, they manned up against a physical Ravens team. So I think they're kind of feeling pretty good about themselves. Getting Mahomes to the ground is another thing, but I think they can generate enough pressure. Who's going to cover Travis Kelce? Because nobody can. And that's something I remember talking to Sean McDermott off camera, just shooting it with him at the NFL Combine. And it was saying, like, what do you do? What do you do? And he's like, I don't know. Like, do you have any ideas? Like, kidding around with me. Like, I think that's where defensive coordinators are at this point of the Mahomes Kelce era of throwing your hands up and hoping. And you can hope in one hand and wish in another. It's not usually a good combo.
It's the intangibles that you just can't put into a stat. And for some reason, they have been falling Kansas City's way this entire season. Well, this might be the chance for the Bills to be able to get one over on Patrick Mahomes during the postseason. I'll ask you your final thoughts. When these two fan bases come together, what is it like? Because, I mean, we've seen it before a lot of times. These two fan bases are both so diehard about their teams, very dedicated to the tailgate. I mean, we got I remember the Bills just jumping off the tables onto the little white tables throughout the parking lot. And you're just like, wow, it's Bills week. So what happens when these two teams come together?
There is a mutual respect, but the Chiefs have always had the trump card of it's when they matter most, we come out on top. So, you want to know what? I think there's a better relationship between Bills fans and Chiefs fans than there is between Bills fans and referees. So I think that's the matchup that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Okay.
Because what my mentions on social media may be completely different. I think there is this sense of he's Patrick Mahomes. The Bills know what it's like to get their teeth kicked in by a quarterback for decades in Tom Brady. And we know the comparisons of how dominant Patrick Mahomes is in these big moments. So there is that respect. The Bills have gotten them. This isn't like they've never won. They've just never won in the postseason. So it is an interesting dynamic, but the respect is there. And look, this is the Kansas City Invitational. And I think if the Bills knew that they were going to go to the Super Bowl this year, it was going to go through Arrowhead.
Yep.
You got to seize your moment.
All right, folks, that does it for another episode of Chiefs News Daily. As always, you know the drill. We'll be back again tomorrow. So in the meantime, like and subscribe right here on the KCSN YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will see ya right back here on Wednesday.